Hello everyone. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel, Get Crafty with Sally. My name is Sally Poole. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Before I show you the project today, I want to go over a few things. I just want to remind you that the Designer Series paper sale is going on right now through the end of this month. So make sure you check that out. There's some beautiful papers in here. The Hello Irresistible is one of my favorites. I just got a delivery a little bit ago and got the Masterfully Made and the Inked Botanicals and the Earth and Elegance. So I'll be playing with those in the next few weeks. So make sure you check these out, stock up. If your favorites are in here, grab them while you can. Hopefully Stampin' Up! Won't run out of them. Another thing I want to go over is I am at 986 subscribers on my YouTube channel as of now. So I am going to be doing a YouTube 1000 subscriber giveaway. So I will draw from subscribers that sign up from today until I do my next video. So hopefully in between that time, I'll hit the thousand subscriber mark. And so on my next video, which most likely will be next week, I'll announce the winner, and I'll give out my email address so they can send me their mailing address. And I'm not sure what I'm going to be giving away yet. Stamp set, embellishments, Designer Series paper. I just don't know right now. So the reason I'm going to kind of have to set a time frame for subscribers and then do a drawing is if you're not logged in through a user account in YouTube, you can subscribe and it gets counted as a subscriber, but I can't see your name. I can't tell who you are. So the people that are not logged on YouTube subscribers, when they subscribe, I won't be able to see your names. So I can't just pick the 1000th subscriber. So I hope that makes sense. So anyway, let's take a look at what we're going to be making today. This is a triple flap fun fold card. And again, I've used the Fresh as a Daisy Designer Series paper and the Cheerful Daisies bundle. I think this bundle probably I've used the most out of anything I've ever had for making different cards. Usually I just make a couple with a set and then move on to something else. But this one, I've actually probably made a handful of different designs of cards. So anyway, what this triple flap fun fold does is pops open like this. How cool is that? You can stamp inside here if you want. I'm assuming this is where most people would write their message. You might want to put another piece of paper in here to write on. I just thought I would leave it blank and let you decide. So anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. So let me show you what you're going to need to make this card. I have used a piece of basic white for the base, and you don't really notice it on here. It's on just a piece on the back. It is 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. Then I have a piece of 4¼ by 11 lemon lolly, and this is the folding mechanism piece, and we're going to score that. You'll need 2 pieces of designer series paper. I have paper from the, let me see, Retired Gingham Cottage pack. Of course, you could use whatever you want to coordinate with whatever paper you're using. So those are 1½ by 5 inches. You'll need 2 of them. You'll need 3 pieces of basic white, 1¾ inch by 3¾ inch. You will need 3 pieces of designer series paper, 1½ inch by 3½ inches. You will need a scrap of basic white for the sentiment, and also to cut out a couple pieces of this daisy. And you'll need a piece of lemon lolly scrap. Mine's about 2½ inches by 3¼ for the scallop that's under the sentiment. And then you'll need a piece of early espresso, a scrap, for the bottom layer under the daisy. It doesn't show up very much, but it does add something to this card. So let's get started. Oh, let me show you first the Cheerful Daisies bundle. I'm using the stamp set and the dies, and also the Fresh as a Daisy designer series paper. You can see that I've chopped it up already. I'm also using a couple of dies from the old Layering Ovals Framelits dies. So we'll get into that when we do our cutting. The Fresh as a Daisy items, or Cheerful Daisies, Fresh as a Daisy suite is on page 110 in the catalog. You might as well order the suite because you're going to love everything in it. You get the stamps and the dies, the designer series paper package, and you also get these adhesive back solid gems. So it's very rare that I order a whole suite, but I did on this because I would have ordered all of those anyway. So anyway, pages 110 and 111. If you just want the bundle, remember that when you order them together, when you buy them as a bundle, you do get 10% off the price. So that's always a good deal. Okay, let me grab my chair and we'll get started. So first, let's take our piece of lemon lolly paper. I guess I should stand back up so I can make sure this is in the camera. So this is 4¼ by 11, and we are going to score it at, I guess I should have kept my little paper. We're going to score it at 1¾ inches, 3½ inches, 7½ inches, and 9¼ inches. But if you want to, you can just score it at 1¾ and then 3½ inches. And then if you just flip it over, You can do the same thing again. 1 3/4. And 3 1/2 inches. So that comes out the same as the 4 scoring measurements that I just gave to you. So let's grab our bone folder, and I think I'll grab one of these grid sheets to work on. Hopefully it's not too white to make my camera try to focus in and out all the time. So we're just going to fold that in towards the center, grab our bone folder, burnish that crease, flip this one over the other way, and then do the same thing on this side. And you want to make sure that your pieces line, your edges line up here. That keeps wanting to scoot up for some reason. So give it a good crease. Fold that one over. So there's the mechanism. So this would be a good time to stamp something if you're going to want to put a daisy or sentiment or something inside here. You can do it later, but as I know from experience, that can be disastrous when you finished your card and then you ruin the inside of it. So let's attach this to our little basic white base piece. All right, I am gonna get a different color here. I'm just gonna use some Tombow glue. Let me get my little glue holder. Sorry, I keep reaching in front of the camera. So you're just going to want to flip this over. Put some glue on the back of it. Whoops, that is way too close to the edge. And it is wanting to pop up. All right, so let's get our white base in here. And you can give this a little pinch. You might get some glue on your fingers. Lay it on top of your basic white card base piece. It looks kind of hard and it makes me nervous every time I do it, but I've actually got it pretty straight every time I've done it. And figured for sure if it was going to go wrong, it would do it while I was making a video. So next, let's attach our 5-inch pieces of designer series paper to these little side flaps. So again, I'm gonna get some glue, and you should be able to have about 1/8 of an inch border around the edges. I'm actually gonna scoot it in just a tiny bit more towards the center of the card, just to make sure that it doesn't show when it's folded up, which really isn't going to matter. It's not going to hurt anything. I just would rather see the nice lemon lolly edge underneath the white right there. Okay, so let's put our second piece on. And for those of you that watch my videos, you know that I get crazy with the adhesives. I'm always trying to be better, but it seems to be a thing with me. I just would hate for things to come apart. Okay, so there's that. See, we're getting somewhere. So now let's take our 3 pieces of basic white and our 3 pieces of designer series paper. Now I do have these in the order that I cut them, and I wrote on the back 1, 2, and 3. So I cut these from 1 piece of paper. So it's not critical that they are put in this order, but that's just the way I'm going to try to do it. And it's not like they're going to match perfectly up on the front of the card anyway, because this white piece underneath it does separate the panels a little bit, so they're not butted up right next to each other, so you can't really tell. So there's number 1. There's number 2. And there's number 3, and a dog hair. Okay, so those look pretty good. So now this is the top panel. So what we're going to do next is, you can see that the middle one is glued on the left and the top and bottom are glued on the right. So we're going to lay these out first. Top, center, bottom. Hopefully I'm in the camera. And this is going to go clear down to the bottom of the card front. So I'm going to line these up and make sure that they kind of look like they're in the right place. So that looks pretty good. I can see the top a little bit, so I'll scoot them up. All right. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on this right panel. Line that up with the bottom on both sides. Give ourselves an equal margin on the left and the right. Okay. So next we're going to glue down the middle panel. So we'll hold this down, and snug that right up against it. Hold that down for a second, and then we'll do the same thing with the last piece on the top. Hold everything down, snug it all up, and that came out pretty good. So I'm going to hold these two sides and this side for just a quick minute. Make sure they're adhered pretty well. So next, let's put my lid on my glue for a minute. Let's stamp our sentiment. So I just have this scrap of white paper, and I'm using the Your Friendship Means Everything to Me, or excuse me, Your Friendship Means Everything from the Cheerful Daisy set. I'm finding glue on my fingers. I'm just going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So we'll ink that up. I'm going to stand up. Give that a press. Looks good. So you probably want to let this dry a minute before you do the next step. I've stamped one ahead of time, so hopefully it's dry. What I did before I cut it out with the oval was, it's pretty stark white, which would be okay on the card front. I just thought that I would put a little bit of lemon lolly on it here and there. So I'm going to ink up my blender brush, take most of the ink off, and then just put a little bit of ink on this white panel. Don't need to cover up everything. So that's pretty good. And also, while I have that out, let's take our extra white scrap, and I don't know if you can see this daisy, the top part is white, but I actually did put some yellow on it as well, and I just want it really light. So I'm just going to kind of randomly place some white, or excuse me, lemon lolly on here. That should be good. Then I'm going to take my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and this little daisy piece, and I'm just going to randomly put this on here, and I really don't want the whole thing to be yellow, but it still might come out that way. It doesn't really matter. Just gives it a little bit of texture and difference. I just don't care for the whole main center panel to be stark white. So there's that little piece. It does have yellow on it. It probably doesn't look like it in the camera. And then I'm also going to cut out my sentiment, and I'm going to use this little oval. Let's see if we can figure out which one it is from this set. So it is second from the smallest on the larger set. You can see this one's smaller. And this actually measures about 1 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So let's line this up. I am going to put a little bit of tape on it. We'll run this through. I've got my plate 1, plate 2, my paper with my die, and then a second plate 2. So there's our sentiment. And you're going to want to do the same process with this scalloped die. And this die is about 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So you'll end up cutting this piece out with it, and I'm using lemon lolly. So these are going to get glued together. Looks like I smeared my ink. I'm going to grab an extra that I have here and put a little bit of yellow on it. Hopefully I don't smear it all. All right, that's good. So we'll toss that one, use that one. We've got that piece. And then I'm also using a piece of the little early espresso piece for the bottom part of the daisy. And you will use this die for it. And then I'm using this piece, but I only want this little daisy part. So let me see if I can cut it out of a scrap. Maybe. We'll give it a try. Get my machine back in here. This might be tricky with this angle. So I just want to make sure that I've got enough paper under this little daisy piece. That should work as long as something doesn't scoot around. Okay. So depending how much paper you put in there, you're going to end up with something kind of like this. So we're going to want to take our snips and cut these extra little pieces off. You just kind of have to cut it where you think the edge would be. There is no right or wrong, and it will look fine. And then I'm also going to punch these little chads out that didn't come out already. And one more thing, I'm going to put a good amount of lemon lolly. I'm going to try to just use the edge of this on the center of this flower. Just the center. And then I'm also going to take my Wink of Stella and put a little Wink of Stella over that lemon lolly flower center. Okay, so there's our little daisy pieces. We can put that together. Well, that didn't do much good. So first I'm going to take some, this is Tombow glue, but it's in a bottle with a fine point tip. Let me get the glue started. Put a little bit of glue on the back of this piece with the daisy petal pieces on it. Close that up. And then we're just going to lay it on this other daisy piece. Glue it down. And then we're going to glue this piece to the early espresso piece. And I think that this early espresso piece really makes the daisy pop, especially since the daisy's going to be sitting on white paper. So let's glue our sentiment down to the lemon lolly scallop. Try to get it even on all sides. And then I'm actually going to put some dimensionals on the back of this. And the easiest way to get them in a good spot is to fold your card up. Kind of set this where you think it should go in the center of the card. I tried to make everything equal, and then I'm going to just put some dimensionals on the back here. Some as in 5, plenty. So we'll take the covers off the dimensionals. I should probably stand up again and make sure I get this straight. So fold that up, lay our sentiment down, make sure everything is even and straight. I think I've got it up too far. Okay. And the mechanism works, so I don't have the dimensionals caught somewhere where they're not supposed to be. So now let's just, oops, sorry. I just totally bumped everything with my chair. Hopefully that's still in a good spot. So let's glue our little daisy down. and kind of just set it however you like on here. Turn it which way you want. And then I'm going to add some iridescent pearls, basic jewels. And I will put one right there by the center of the flower. I'm going to put one up here on that flower. And I'll put one down here in this flower. Okay, so that is the card for today. Let me know what you think about it. I do have another sample of one that I did. This one is, instead of the basic white behind everything and lemon lolly, I have early espresso for the frames behind the DSP, and then also crushed curry. So that might be more of your color combination. I don't know. So let me know which one you like better. So don't forget about the YouTube 1,000 subscriber giveaway. If you're not a subscriber yet, I hope you'll do that and get entered for some goodies. I really appreciate you being here. If you like this video, I'd appreciate if you would give me the thumbs up, hit the like button, share this with your friends and family. And again, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next time. Have a great day.